Okay, so we're going to do some yin yoga today. So we're going to need either 2 bricks, or if you have blocks or even books, you may improvise with something else, and a chair, like a dining chair. So just start by coming into a seated position, any seated position, so you can sit on your chair if you wish, and just make sure your spine's nice and tall, so you're not slouching, not compressing your inner organs, shoulders are relaxed. Just rest your hands, palms upwards on your lap or your thighs. Just close your eyes for a moment. Take this time to check in. So with the yin yoga, we do like yin restorative passive poses and kind of yang strong dynamic poses. So there's a balance. Now, I want you to practice AHIMSA. So one of the yamas and niyamas is AHIMSA, which is basically translated as non-violence or non-harming. And that means in thought, word, or deed towards yourself and all other living beings. Now you might think, well, I'm not violent, but think of the times, the negative thoughts you may have about yourself, and times you may have criticized yourself, belittled yourself, all those kind of things, judge yourself and being right, wrong, all those kind of things. That is a form of harm. So I encourage you to practice non-harming and just to surrender to this moment. So noticing any judgmental kind of negative thoughts as they arise, not beating yourself up over it, and just letting them go again. So acknowledging those thoughts, letting them go, because we are so judgmental towards ourselves. So I want you to surrender to this now moment. In fact, just repeat this affirmation after me. I surrender to this now moment and lovingly accept that everything is as it should be. I surrender to this now moment and lovingly accept that everything is as it should be. And just notice how that feels in your body as you say that. Because quite a lot of our kind of mental suffering comes from wishing things were different, from not feeling like we're good enough, not feeling like we're doing things right, or comparing ourselves to other people, thinking, no, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, all that kind of thing. So if we drop the shoulds, just focus on this moment, which is the only moment we're truly alive, and accept that whatever is happening right now is exactly how it should be. If you want to believe in a higher power, a divine intelligence, then to say that things aren't as they should be is to say that a power far greater than we can comprehend has got things wrong. So by surrendering and accepting everything as it should be, even if you're having a day where you're kind of struggling a little bit with things maybe are more challenging than normal, that's exactly how it should be. When I should say, drop the shoulds, but stop shoulding all over yourself. But we say, I should be doing this, I'm doing that, I've done it before, blah, 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 blah. Just surrender and accept every moment as it is, without labeling it good, bad, right, wrong, positive, negative. It just is. And that helps to free up so much emotional space and to bring you to a place of calm. Now we're going to start off in a position called half saddle pose. So if you're on a block, come off your block. You may need a cushion for this, and that's okay. So we're going to bring that right heel beside your right foot. Now, say if that feels too strong on the knee, then you can place a cushion or a block underneath your hips. So ideally we want that heel close to the hip and the top of the foot pressed into the floor so you can see the underneath of the foot. You can keep this left knee bent. You can stay here for a couple of breaths. Just pull your butt cheeks back to tilt your pelvis forward slightly. So it's a strong stretch on the front of the thigh. And you can stay here. Or you might find that you can come down either onto your elbows And you might stay a while here, tuck the tailbone under, and feel that stretch. So if you start to feel like something's about to hurt, to injure yourself, then ease off a little bit. So we don't want to get to that stage where we're like holding the breath and we're like, I didn't move because something's going to hurt. You know how it is? So just breathe into it, ease into it. So you can put a block or cushion underneath your butt. If it feels okay to come all the way down, you can do. So if that feels too strong, because it is a strong stretch on the front of your hips, front of your thighs. So if it feels too strong or you're tensing or holding the breath, then come back up a step. If you do come all the way down, you can rest the arms on your belly, or you can maybe take the arms overhead. Just find a position that works for you. And imagine breathing along the length of that spine. Remember, I surrender to this now moment. And notice how quick we are to judge and say it might be, oh my God, this is too hard, or this is too challenging, or this is painful, this is blah, 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 blah. Why can't I do this? I'm useless, blah, 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 blah. All that incessant chatter. See if you can just let it go. So it's neither hard nor easy, it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant, it just is. And notice how when you drop all the labels, you might feel your body releasing a little bit. So let go of your idea of there being like a perfect pose. Because the only pose that is important right now is this one. This is the most important pose right now. No other pose matters. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Breathe in deeply yet smoothly. Now breathe out deeply but smoothly. So make sure your breath is staying steady and fluid. So if your breath feels a bit like ragged or it's stopping, then you need to ease off a little bit. So the breath is your guide. Again, the front of the thighs are often tight. I always find no matter what, these muscles are tight. You might find after a few breaths, it starts to ease off a little bit. I surrender to this now moment, which is the only moment we're alive. We spend so much time either thinking about things that have gone, we can't change, or worrying about things that haven't happened yet. So try and be mindful of this present moment. And after your next exhale, start coming out gently. So come up, if you're on the floor, come up onto your elbows first. And then start to come up all the way. Just shift over to the left hip, gently bring that knee around. It's a strong stretch. We don't want to come out too quickly. And give that knee a little bit of a rub. And switching to the other side. So again, shifting over, bring the heel beside your thigh. You can slide the finger down so you're making space between your calf and your thigh. Just check in, notice how it feels on this side. Make any adjustments if you need to. Again, you can sit on a block or a cushion. Raising your hips up, that will ease the stretch a little bit. You'll still get a good stretch, but it might ease it off enough. Again, breathe with ease, lengthening up through the crown of the head, shoulders relaxed. Then you may decide to stay right here, and only if you're able to relax in that thigh, go to the next stage. Or you might just stay right where you are. Tuck your tailbone under. The knee may come off the floor a little bit, but what we don't want is like that kind of thing. So you want to make sure your thigh is still pretty much relaxed. And one side may feel a lot tighter than the other. So check in. Notice how it feels. So this side feels a little bit tighter for me than the other side. So you might spend a few more breaths in this position, or you might decide to stay in this position. Now the idea is to release into it, not to force, because the more you try and force something, the more the body will fight back and resist you. So it's just like a case of, you know what, yeah, I can just hang out here, I can just hang here and breathe, and whatever happens is fine. Whether I get down all the way on the floor or not, it's really okay. But if you do want to go all the way down, if you can go all the way down without causing an injury or feeling like something's about to tear, again, keeping the breath, long, smooth breath. So always check in. If your breath has suddenly come gone, then it might be too much. If that's the case, come up. So it's a strong stretch. Imagine breathing along the length of the thigh. Imagine you can breathe under the skin. Right down into your hips, into your thighs, into your knees. Relax your face, relax your jaw. After your next exhale, again, come up slowly, don't be in a rush. So come up one stage at a time. And easing yourself up. And if you've got a cushion, pop that out. Roll off to one side, ease that knee around. And again, give that knee a little bit of love. And bring the soles of your feet together. If you can, wrap your hands around your feet. If not, don't worry, hold on wherever you can reach. And try and press the knees towards the floor. As you breathe in, pull the knees up towards you. As you breathe out, press the knees down and try and use your upper body strength. Imagine you're trying to pull the feet towards you so you feel the stretch in your inner thighs. Inhale, release, bring the knees up. And exhale, press the knees down, stretch. Breathing in and out. And in and out. Then come up, just move the feet a little bit further away from you. And then bring yourself down onto your back. Take the arms out to the side. Soften or close your eyes. And just breathe. As you're breathing, mentally affirm, I surrender. I surrender. Just staying here, observing the body, observing any thoughts, feelings, emotions that may arise. And keep in mind as well that it's not unusual to get quite emotional, especially in these poses where we're holding it for a little bit longer. Because, and especially in this kind of pose where we're working on the hips, because we tend to hold a lot of emotional tension in our hips, and it's quite a vulnerable position as well. You know, the knees kind of open, and you're open to the world. It's quite a vulnerable position. So acknowledge that if you do feel kind of like almost anxious or vulnerable to, you know, then acknowledge that. And there was a time, for many years, I felt vulnerable sleeping in bed without any cover on me at all. Even when it was really, really hot, I felt like I had to have a bit of cover on me. Otherwise, I just felt really vulnerable. It's like, I mean, God knows what I thought, you know, if someone's going to come into my house and burgle my house, whatever, a bit of duvet is not going to protect me. And I know it wasn't logical, but it just, you know, it had that kind of sense of security to have at least something covering a part of my body. So if you do feel a sense of kind of vulnerability, again, just acknowledge that and be kind to yourself. Don't make yourself wrong. Don't make it, you know, a thing. It's just acknowledge how you feel and just let it go. You know, we need to feel. Sometimes we may have things that, you know, we've been holding on to for years. Sometimes there's something that you may thought you've dealt with, or even things that you didn't realize was an issue, or you didn't think was an issue, and that suddenly kind of come up many years later. So don't be surprised if that happens. And if you burst into tears, just allow that. If you burst into laughter, again, just allow that. I surrender means I let go of all expectations. I let go of, having to be a certain way. Whatever needs to come out can come out. It's okay. So I surrender. Just allow the breath to flow through you. And as you say that, as you say, I surrender, you may notice your body kind of, after a while, go, and it's like you suddenly loosen all the muscles. You thought you were relaxed, and it's like you were really tense and everything's just gone, and that often does take a few breaths, up to 10, 15 breaths before you actually relax, even though you think you're relaxed, you think you're letting go, and then all of a sudden it's like, actually it's okay, it's safe to do that now. And you can always pause the video and stay here for a while longer. If not, gently bring your knees in towards each other, hug the knees in towards the chest. And bring your nose towards your knee and see if you can rock and roll on your spine a few times. You can use your legs a little bit as momentum. Come up to sitting and come over onto your knees. Grab your blocks. So if you need padding under your knees, then grab some padding, grab some cushions, whatever you may need. We're going to come into Ustrasana camel pose. So this is a yang pose. So start off by having your blocks or whatever you're using as blocks. You may have the bigger blocks or bricks. Bricks are more ideal for this kind of thing, but you can use the blocks as well. Make sure you've got equal size ones both sides. So just start off by tucking your toes under and stretching your toes out. So it's a very yang pose. It's great for heart opening. It's great for expansion, for lifting your mood. So remember, back bends are about stretching and opening the front of the body. It's not about bending backwards. So there should be no compression in your spine whatsoever. So have your blocks, one either side of you. We're going to use those in a moment. So your feet are about hip width. Bring your hands onto your waist and tuck your tailbone under. As you do that, lift your butt off the thighs. Start to get your legs, your thighs working. Start to push your hips forward. And then think of lifting through your ribs and your sternum. Lift, open up your armpits, press your elbows back, squeeze your butt, squeeze your thigh. Now I tend to keep my chin tucked in here. You might lift your chin up, you might let your head drop back, whatever feels right for you. Now, years when I first started practicing this pose, I used to take my head back and it felt good. Nowadays, for some reason, it doesn't, so I just tend to keep it tucked in and focus on the stretch in my body. So it's totally up to you. Now, imagine you've got a drawstring on your elbows, they're pulling in towards each other, and really push the hips forward and think of openly expanding the front of the chest. Take another breath in and out. And think of tucking the tailbone under again and come back down onto your butt. Now you can repeat that if you wish, or you can have your hands on your blocks and tuck the tailbone under, push the hips forward. And we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. Now you can also build your blocks up if you need to. So you can put blocks on top of blocks and be a little bit higher up, but make sure you're not leaning on them. So in other words, you can release your hands, still lift your chest, push your ribs out. Imagine lengthening from the tailbone to the crown of the head. So really still open and expand your heart, so you've still got that sensation of elbows back. So if it's too much here, then come back to this variation. Then have your head in a position that feels good for you. And as you're here, mentally affirm, I lovingly accept that everything is as it needs to be. I lovingly accept that everything is as it needs to be. Keep lifting through your heart. Imagine you've got a hook attached to your ribs and you're lifting up, squeezing the butt. I lovingly accept that everything is as it needs to be. And gently, again, tucking the tailbone under, come down, untuck your toes. And just rest your hands on your thighs for a minute, close your eyes, check in. And come up onto your knees. Take a big step forward with the right foot. Try and level out your hip so you're not lifting that hip up. Kind of tuck the tailbone under slightly. Almost lean back, breathe in as you breathe out. As you bend the knee, lean back with the upper body. So what sometimes tends to happen is people kind of like do this. So I want you to feel like you're almost leaning back. So you've still got that back bend effect that we had in camel pose. Make sure this front knee is directly over the ankle, so wiggle the foot forward if you need to. Imagine you're hugging your thighs into the midline, and just take the arms down. Lengthen through the fingertips, notice how it opens the chest as you turn the hands forward. Lift your eye gaze up rather than your chin. So rather than sticking your chin out, lift your eye gaze so your chin will naturally lift slightly. Imagine hugging the thighs into the midline. So again, another yang pose. So you're engaging your thighs, opening out your chest, feeling a stretch in your hip flexors. Nice full deep breath in. And full breaths out. And keep those legs energized. Keep lifting through your heart. So again, another back bend, which is about opening the front of the body. And whilst you're here, mentally affirm, I embrace this now moment. Now, when I first ever tried kind of yin yoga, restorative yoga, I hated it. It was way too slow, way too boring. And I really needed it, actually, because I used to do everything at 100 miles an hour. And I really actually needed yin yoga. But it was like, oh my God, this is such hard work because it was so slow. And one day I stuck with it. And one day I just burst into tears and was like, I surrender. Okay, I get it. I need it. And we do need a balance of yin and yang with everything in life. Times when we're dynamic, energized, doing stuff, and times when we rest and just reflect. I embrace this now moment. After your next exhale, ease off, come back, and just sit back on your heels for a moment, take a breath, noticing how that side of the body feels. And coming back up, stepping your left foot forward, again drop that hip, make sure you're not twisting the hip. Lift your chest, imagine kind of tucking your tailbone so you're not sticking it out. Inhale, as you exhale, you can get the sensation that you're leaning back rather than leaning forward. So if you need to ease off a little bit, you can do. If that knee's gone way over the ankle, wiggle it forward so the knee's in line with the ankle. Lengthen through your fingertips. Again, turn your hands, palms forward. Spread out the toes of the foot, front foot. Imagine pressing the back foot into the floor. Imagine hugging your thigh bones with your thigh muscles. nice deep breath, stretching out those hip flexors, engaging the legs. Full breath in as if you're filling your whole body with air, with energy. Full breath out, relax the jaw. Maybe bring a slight, very subtle smile to your face. Notice how that relaxes the jaw. I embrace this now moment, which is the only moment that you are alive. One more nice full deep breath in and out. And gently easing off, coming back, and sit back on your heels for a moment, close your eyes. Notice how you feel, without labeling it good, bad, right, wrong, just simple curiosity. You're going to get your chair. Place your chair down. If you want a cushion for your head, so your head wants to sit nicely on the floor, you can pop a cushion underneath your head. And you're going to rest your legs on your chair. So your feet are about hip width apart. Bring your right hand onto your chest, left hand onto your lower belly. Spread your fingers out so your thumb is just gently in contact with your belly button. And soften or close your eyes. This is great for relieving any tension in the back. It's a great little counter pose for those back bends. So we've just done 2 back bends, Ustrasana camel pose and Anjaneyasana low lunge. And so it's a kind of great way to counterpose that, and it's great for relieving tension in your back because you're totally supported and your legs are above your heart, so it's a little bit of a mini inversion. Take your awareness to the breath and see if you can breathe down into your belly. So as you breathe in, feel your belly expand. It might only be a little move, it might be a big move, doesn't matter. Keep breathing in, feel your rib cage expand. Keep breathing in, feel your chest rise. As you exhale, feel your chest soften. Feel your rib cage soften. And feel your belly button draw in towards your spine. So inhaling, belly, chest, ribs, and exhaling, chest, ribs, belly. Continue that way for a few minutes, trying to breathe even more deeply with each breath. So really slowing the breath down, maybe holding for a few seconds at the end of each in-breath and at the end of each out-breath. Feel yourself relaxing even more. that sense of surrender and of being fully present, not trying to get anywhere, not trying to do anything, just being. And again, if you feel a little bit irritable, you feel a little bit fidgety, just acknowledge that. If you're fully enjoying it, just acknowledge that. Just be here. Everything is as it should be, as it needs to be. You can stay here for as long as you need. And when you are ready, so you can stay here as long as you need. When you are ready, hug your knees in. Roll off to your right side. Just make a little pillow for your head with your hands. When you're ready, easing yourself back up to sitting. So you can stay for as long as you need, so you can stay right where you are. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Any questions, any comments, please let me know. Love to you. Mwah.